to give you the synopsis of it. I love this deal. When it comes down to the two first round picks they gave up, I'd rather give up those 2 first round picks that are down the line. One could be this draft. The next could be as late as 2028, I believe. So it's going to be down the line. If you could hold on to Tyrese Maxey and Matisse Thybulle, I'd rather do that and give away 2 future first-round picks, especially because I see the Sixers being a pretty damn good basketball team over the next couple of years. So the first-round pick this year will be a very late-round pick if it all goes to plan. And then down the line in 2027 or 2028, whenever that first-round pick actually vests or kicks in. And let's not forget, if the Sixers are god-awful, in both years that pick can flip to, whether it's 2017 or 2027 or 2028, which feels like not even real numbers, not even real years at this point, it's still protected picks 1 through 8. So it's more than just lottery protected. You get even the higher right there, you get the 1 through 8. So that's nice to see from the 76ers. Now, the other thing about this is that this is the big deal. Now, what do I mean by that? The process was all for this, to get to this point. You have advanced the process farther than it's ever been when you're at this point right now by going and actually getting that superstar. More so than when you got Jimmy Butler here in Philadelphia. You got a guy in James Harden who's been a league MVP, been a 3-time scoring champion. He's played the point guard position for a number of years now since Mike D'Antoni waved his magic wand and made James Harden a point guard. So now you don't have to rely on Tyrese Maxey as much of playing a position that he's never played before this year. So putting James Harden more in that role helps the Sixers tremendously in terms of overall offense and chemistry and flow. And we'll see if that proof is in the pudding when they actually start playing games together. No official word as to whether or not he's going to play tonight against when the Sixers return to action tonight. So we'll see how that plays out. But right now, what this is going to do for the Sixers is give them a legit point guard who's won an MVP as a point guard and a guy that's coming into a situation where there is one main guy, and that's Joel Embiid. So if you're running point, you know that's the guy you're looking for. Joel Embiid knows he has a reliable guy on the outside to kick the ball out to shoot a 3, shoot a jump shot, crash the lane himself, whatever it might be. But one of the other things we can look at with this team is that we're going to have to get used to a very, very slow style of basketball. And we might already be used to that, considering Joel Embiid goes to the line a hell of a lot, almost more than anybody in the NBA. So when you think about him going to the line a lot, and then you also think about James Harden, who gets fouled and goes to the line a lot, we're going to be seeing a lot of foul shots. Unfortunately, both are very good free throw shooters, but unfortunately, it's not going to be a lot of frosty freeze-outs when somebody misses 2 free throws in a row, unfortunately, at least in that regard. However, that's all about the opponent. And the opponent coming in March 10th is going to be Ben Simmons. Now, I have never been able to participate in the frosty freeze-out, so I'm a little sketchy on the rules. I'm not exactly sure. But I reached out yesterday because somebody hit me up saying that they were really excited for the frosty freeze-out. And I was like, well, just one frosty freeze-out? Like, how does it work? So as it turns out, and I didn't know this, the opposing player misses 2 free throws, both free throws are a trip to the line. The crowd gets frosties, right? And then if it happens again in the game, the crowd then gets, I believe it's a medium fries. And then if it happens again, I believe it's a small fries. So we're going to be a bunch of fat bastards after March 10th when Ben Simmons comes here, because you know they're just going to be fouling him and sending him to the line, fouling him and sending him to the line, fouling him and sending him to the line. And we're just going to be here to bask in it and celebrate him missing those free throws. So that's something we can look forward to. The other thing that I'm really looking forward to is seeing if Joel Embiid can develop this other part of his game. Now, you might say, oh, what does Joel Embiid need to do? He's the MVP candidate now. It's not James Harden anymore. This is very much Joel Embiid's team. And you're absolutely right in thinking that. However, I want to see how Joel Embiid adapts his game to his new teammate. And I'm not saying he's got to make crazy changes or anything like that. It's just that one thing we never see from Joel Embiid, and this isn't a complaint, this is an observation, because I love JoJo. We never see him run up to the top of the key, set a screen, and then go to the basket. We never see a pick and roll when it comes to Joel Embiid. We see him get a pick, and then he just kind of stands there like, oh, give me the ball. And he just stands there. Cut to the rim. With James Harden in this offense, James Harden running this offense, James Harden running point, I want to see if Joel Embiid can do part of that. Now, James Harden's probably also thinking along those same lines. I have never played with a more versatile player than Joel Embiid. I mean, yes, Kevin Durant's an MVP. Obviously, he's won championships. We all know. But just in terms of versatility from the big man position, I want to see how much James Harden is going to trust his big man to make plays. And I also want to see if Joel Embiid is going to help this team by making another threat, by being able to bust to the basket after setting a pick at the top of the key for James Harden. And both those guys are going to the rim where James Harden can either do a little bounce pass in the paint. James Harden can throw it up in the air for Joel Embiid to throw it down. I want to see this offense become explosive. There are going to be times where we're going to have a lot of free throws. We're going to foul, go to the line, foul, go to the line. But when it comes to watching Joel Embiid, I want to see him play explosive basketball with James Harden. And I want to see James Harden do that exact same thing here in Philadelphia. Now, they got into this a lot on the TNT broadcast yesterday, and Charles Barkley. I was shocked that the guys on the broadcast were disagreeing with Charles Barkley. There is no doubt in my mind that James Harden needs to be the second best player on the Sixers and needs to threaten Joel Embiid as the leading scorer. And that's more or less what Chuck was saying yesterday on the broadcast. And I'm going, I totally agree with this. Look at me, Charles Barkley. I played like CYO basketball. He played in the MVP of the NBA, gold medalist and all that stuff. And look at us on the same page. And then everyone else, Shaq and Kenny, they were all disagreeing with Chuck, saying, no, he doesn't have to be that second best player. You're damn right he does. Who was going to go to Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey? Love them both. Ain't happening. You made this move to put the process at a head. You made this move to get that superstar to play next to your superstar in Joel Embiid to win you a championship. That's why we went through all the years of direct to get to this point. Now it's a matter of actually seeing it through by winning a championship. The Sixers have been great at being competitive during the regular season and notching the number one seed in the regular season, getting to the second round of the playoffs. That's been great. Getting past that point has been next. It just hasn't happened for this team for a number of reasons. You could talk about the quadruple doink from Kawhi Leonard. You could talk about Ben Simmons passing to Matisse Thybulle. You can do all of that. But as of right, you can talk about Ben Simmons scoring 1 point against the Boston Celtics 4 years ago. Unbelievable. You can talk about all this stuff. Now they have the two stars, legit stars, perennial all-stars, both MVP caliber players. One already has the MVP trophy in his back pocket. You went through all that trek, all that losing to get to this point right now. Now it's time to actually bear fruit. I'm not one of the guys that's ever said the process worked. Look, you have Joel Embiid. Oh, you had Ben Simmons. Oh, look, you got Jimmy Butler here. You got Tobias. No. The process doesn't work until you've gotten at least past the point where the process started, and that's what I always go to. You got to get past the second round of the playoffs. You got to get past Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. You have to get to the NBA Finals a couple of times. You didn't go through 4 years of dreck just to get to the finals maybe once. That's not why you did that. That's a very low bar considering the suffering we went through as a fan base. We forfeited 3 years, 4 years even, of our Sixers fandom for maybe one trip to the playoffs. I get watching Joel Embiid's pretty awesome, but I'd rather watch a parade go down Broad Street a couple of times